Wow, just wow. I finished Echo, and wow is all I gotta say. It's not a good wow or a bad wow. It's just all right. I didn't hate the show. I didn't dislike the show, but not much I can say I liked about the show. Okay, but to be fair, to give the show some credit, I enjoyed the show up until the last episode when the ending was on some Avatar state type bullshit that was ridiculous to an extent and funny. It was just I'm like just looking at like what the fuck is going on here. But all right, long story short, Maya presumably kills the Kingpin, episode 1. Spoilers, I suppose. Spoilers, I should have said that. But, she gets injured, she runs away back home to heal, and apparently wants to take over his empire, I suppose. Would blowing up said empires like shit do that? I don't fuck if I know. I don't know. What was her plan there? Let me blow up the empire I want to take over his armory, and that'll be something I might have to deal with if I did take over, right? I don't know what her plan was, but fuck if I don't know. I don't I don't know. One thing before I continue though, I really don't know what the hell her deal is. Like, did she really think that she could take over Fisk's like empire, take over his army, and she can basically do whatever she wants? She herself can barely do anything herself, which is honestly really surprising if you really think about it. You see her fight and do her thing, but when it comes down to it, when she wants to take over this empire, her entire plan or whatever it was originally just completely fumbled with the one thing that she did not expect. The Kingpin survived. He survived a gunshot to the head, like most importantly to the fucking eye, and he still has the fucking eye. So I'm like, what is going on here? Also, big question, honestly, why was her dad killed essentially by Fisk? Because he went ahead and tipped off Hawkeye, who was working as Ronin, killing people who didn't deserve to be alive after the snap, and he was like mourning and anguish and all that shit, right? And we all know what happened. We all know what happened with Hawkeye. He turned into Ronin, just killing criminals and so on. And he killed her dad. And he was a criminal gang leader, of course, in Fisk's pocket. But why was he killed? I don't think it was really explained. So my working theory is that he wanted him out of the way so he can take Maya as his daughter, because he wanted to take up the father role. I I suppose, which is why that is the reason why all this shit is happening in the fucking first place. Now back to the show. She's very strict, and like she's on strict business, like interaction wise with family and friends, I suppose. And she isn't as tight with them as she was when she was a kid, of course. She hasn't seen them in like 20 years or some shit. And Kingpin's, men snoop around. They get a tip off from just some guy who cleans shoes, who's working with her uncle, who was also working for Kingpin, under a lot of fear, under a lot of fear from him, right? And the guy basically tipped off his men. They came in and cornered her, but they backed off because surprise, surprise. The Kingpin shrugged off a bullet to the eye and, ordered them to stand down. So the Kingpin tries to get her back on his side, even telling her that she can have his empire, just leave with him. And, guess what she does? Leaves him high and dry, which pisses him off, of course. And he planned to kill her family and cause a massacre at a Native American festival. I don't know. I don't believe like Wilson Fisk would do such things, especially like a massacre at a Native American festival, like RPG to a crowd of regular people, right? So I don't know about that. However, I do think if Fisk wants you, he would try everything in his power to take you, but I don't think he would go that far. But like if he knew Maya, he would know that this wouldn't really push her to go back to his side, and it just didn't work for me as like a something Kingpin would do. Honestly, no, it just didn't work for me. Sorry, sorry, not sorry. What would happen that would stop the Kingpin? Some Avatar ass shit that just made me laugh. And she goes ahead and takes his pain away, so he wouldn't hurt anybody else with his pain. And the season ends with Fisk running away. And I guess he has the idea now from watching TV to run for mayor, I suppose, of New York. I don't know. I wasn't really paying attention because I was laughing so hard, and possibly this is to set up Daredevil. Now, it is very clear to me that they changed some stuff from the comics, a good variety of stuff. So they decided to go with the super cultural route with Echo, and the reason why she's called Echo is because her ancestors' abilities, experience, and skill echo inside her, along with like this healing power type shit and sharing said powers with others of her blood, I suppose, which is the reason why they got out of that jam with Fisk in the last episode in the first place, because I don't know, I guess she channeled the ancestors' might and power towards them, and then they all defeated these professional hitmen that Fisk has. His, I don't know if he brought like, I don't know, Z Team over to help defend him or whatever the fuck, but they really just got eliminated in less than like 2-3 minutes by an old lady and two girls that are super powered. And there's nothing wrong with being a girl taking down like 10 grown men, but there needs to be with the powers, of course, it levels the playing field, but at the same time, the way they did it and gave them powers was kind of fucking ridiculous. When seeing all this, all I could really think of was Avatar. All I could only think of was Avatar. But I didn't hate it per se, but I liked how her abilities in the comics were just her being able to copy anything to the extent of basically being on point with Taskmaster, which is why she gets her name Echo. She echoes the skills and movements of those she fights and learns from them. I like this better than, they came up with this, power ancestor, echo ability, I suppose. And honestly, I didn't really care for the Native American angle they put together here. I'm not Native American, so it doesn't really resonate with me. And a majority of people who watch the show aren't Native Americans, so it might not resonate with them either. So they might not feel connected to the show or the character. So I personally, struggled with connecting with this show in general. They tried this angle with Namor. Yeah, it's Namor, not no more or Namor with the Spanish R or whatever the fuck they tried to do. It is Namor. Don't get it twisted. And they try to connect him with the Mayan culture. And from where I stand, it didn't really help his image. Really, Wakanda Forever wasn't really a good movie to begin with, mainly because there was no real lead in that movie. But there was a lot of issues with that movie and Namor and them trying to connect him to Mayan culture. I get what they wanted to do, but no, they're just they're just Atlanteans. There's no need to do all this extra stuff, right? There's really no need to. And I think culture shouldn't be in the forefront of a character or a show, but more so in the background. Like, you can see like the stuff in the background, you can see the culture, you can see them doing like, a variety of things from said culture, but they don't explain it, they don't say it. If you know, not everything needs to be explained, in my honest opinion. So yeah, that's all I really have to say about that. So anyways, the show wasn't terrible. It just didn't really do anything for me. It didn't do anything for the world of Marvel, the MCU, besides maybe make Kingpin want to run for mayor, I guess. And Daredevil appeared. Yeah, he's pretty cool. Episode 1. And Charlie Cox, amazing. Mwah. Amazing actor. But he was only there for like, what, 3 minutes, I suppose. And I find it funny that Maya was praised for standing up to Daredevil a bit longer than his other lackeys. and was given better shit to do. And I thought that was I thought that was fucking hilarious. It's not like she wasn't getting destroyed by him, but it's understandable. It's Daredevil. Not many people can like stand up to him and not get their ass beat. Also, I seen that shit. I seen that. There's an Easter egg seeing that gas station owned by Roxxon, the same spelling as the one from Insomniac, Spider-Man Miles Morales. And I'm sitting here like I'm sitting there like, are they going to take a page out of Spider-Man Miles Morales and set them up in some way? Who knows? It could be cool, or it could be just my imagination. Who knows? However, the fights in the show, they were all right. Maybe a little bit too clean. Maybe there was not a lot of actual like cool real scenes, I suppose. No gore, no anything like that. A lot of cuts to the action I noticed as well, like that scene in the roller rink when she's just taking one guy one by one. It just her grabbing them and just it just cuts to the next person that she grabs. And it was nice. Some of the fight scenes in there, it was okay, but like it wasn't really extensive because this show isn't really super action oriented. And I thought it was because it's Echo. Her entire thing is fighting, right? So the fights aren't really that great. Nothing is memorable. But this show isn't about war with Kingpin, unfortunately. Yeah, unfortunately. But to get free from his control, which is understandable. But this feels like a weekend Kingpin. This feels like a bad weekend for Kingpin, and now he's going to his actual like weekend dealing with Daredevil. So that's that's a thing, right? That's a thing. Which would be fine, but a lot of the show is spent talking and dealing with situations that is only happening because Maya is special to these situations because she is a weakness to Mr. Fisk. And that's really it. That's the only real reason this show exists, because she is his one weakness that he wants to have. I can't speak. That he wants to have at his side, no matter what, even by killing her family. Like that's gonna work, I suppose. And it's just, I don't get it. I don't know, but it just feels like the show just went in a weird direction in the last 20 minutes of the show. I mean, they hinted at it throughout the entire show, kinda, but like it just, I don't know. It just feels like she's just the fucking Avatar, I guess. But all jokes aside, the show is okay, average at worst, I suppose, and just slightly average, I can't speak again. I'm running off maybe like 2 hours of sleep because I watched this show, but slightly above average at best. The characters I liked was Scully, her granddad, or was it granddad? I'm pretty sure it was granddad, and he has everybody's backs. Cool, right? And Kingpin, and of course Daredevil, but he's barely in the show, so who cares, right? Those are only two I really like. The show is an alright segue to Daredevil stuff, but I don't really think it mattered. You could skip it and do what I did, just a quick Google search and learn what what Maya's done in the Hawkeye show and what her actual show is about, and you're good to go. Fuck it, who cares? None of these shows have much impact to the world of MCU, which is the biggest thing that's hurting it. I feel, because this feels just like a bad weekend for Fisk, and now he has an idea to basically just up himself in the game, I guess. However, I just remember this, like, apparently the events of Netflix's Daredevil is canon, I suppose. But if everybody knows Kingpin is the Kingpin, right? How is he really just gonna run for mayor and everyone's just gonna forget that he's the Kingpin of crime? I don't know what's gonna happen with there, but we will see. But for me, this show is a 6 out of 10, slightly above average, mostly due to its alright action, decent story, I suppose, but underwhelming and sort of hilarious ending. I will say this though, the American Sign Language was always cool to see, to be honest, while watching it. I always liked it. I always liked seeing it. Learning it, I don't know about that. I've never actually gone ahead and thought about it, but it's cool. It's a cool thing. I might learn some basics. It's pretty cool to get exposed to that. And in the show, some of the relationships did feel genuine. It was kind of sweet that the banter between Scully and his ex-wife, the grandma of Maya. It was cute. It was fun to see, but you didn't really see much of it. It wasn't really integral to the story, so eh. One thing is I would like to know more about is Maya's activities while she was on missions for Fisk back in the day, like learning everything she could and learning more how to fight and seeing her gradual evolution of how she fights instead of the explanation that she took karate or some shit like that, right? Or boxing or whatever. I would like to see like how her fighting and everything developed, but it's already too late for that, I suppose. And since they went the whole culture route, I'd love to see more of her reactions to learning more about her culture, other than just having vague dreams and having a the plot save her in the last episode in the last 20 minutes. I would like to see her reactions because that's the cool part about history, about culture, especially when it's not your culture, when a character has their own individual culture that maybe they're not really in tune to, is seeing their reactions to it. And here we didn't really see much reaction to her culture. She's not really super into her culture until she got to her town and everything and start seeing these visions, I suppose. But hey, it's whatever. The whole show, like, it wasn't fulfilling for me to watch. Maybe to you guys, but for me, it just wasn't memorable. This show doesn't seem to be it'll be memorable. Well, I can't really say that. Maybe season 1 may not be memorable, but if season 2 happens and hopefully she goes back to New York, maybe partner up with Daredevil to take on Fisk, or a company like Roxxon that is doing his dirty work, it could be cool. I definitely do feel like Maya is better as a supporting character, and it's funny because her power is basically just her family and literally supporting her by sending her their experience and skills and stuff through space and time or whatever the fuck, right? Magic, whatever they're doing, right? Nature. I don't know how the power source or what's going on. I'm just gonna say magic. I'll say magic. And I don't think this character will be too big, but definitely they can work on this character to be decent, a decent read, a decent watch, either or, don't matter. But that's it for this review. The Rainbow Six Vegas 2 video is still being edited. My bad. It's just that Echo came out and then some Spider-Man shit came out, and I fucking love it. The Ultimate Spider-Man issue, the first one. Dear Christ, I fucking love it. I'm gonna make a video on it literally right now. So keep in tune for that one. Stay safe, stay happy, healthy, mentally, emotionally, physically. Peace, everybody.